Let us not forget everything that happens is by the will of Allah. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or usually unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Into Sunnah followers, streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnah followers.
From Sunnahfollowers. This is from Sheikh Saleh. We need to unite. Sisters, wear your hijab, wear your beards, be proud of your beards. Stay home, stay in your home. Stand up, unite, and stand for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's right, Saleh. We all should stand up in solidarity, not transgressing the limits of the law, but standing together with patience and understanding. This is Sunnah followers.
With dignity, humility, and balance.
This is Yusuf, and this is Ayub. And if you are benefiting like we are from the classes and the ongoing programming, tuning into the Sunnah followers, please donate. Let this be an ongoing Sadaqah Jariyah on your behalf. You're helping the kids, the conference, and everyone seeking knowledge. And it's a wealth of information every day you tune in. Don't forget, you are being rewarded for your generous donations to keep this programming on air. You know, just like what you're hearing, put your dollar where the dollar's at, right here on Sunnah Followers. Don't forget, donate right here to Sunnah Followers and dollars at. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Inna alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our first class for tonight here at Sunnah Followers. And that last advertisement that we put up, guys, I want to remind everybody that this Friday, inshallah, this Friday at 9 p.m. for my Ask Sister Layla live show, we have another special presentation with our two guests, Dr. Ibrahim Dramali and Brother Muhammad Ziada. Brother Muhammad Ziada is a law enforcement agent, and he will be here, and we will be discussing, and I want you guys to pass that around. I did make a short, and I did share it on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and all the other, and Instagram. We will be discussing the dangers of social media influencers. The dangers of social media influencers, because we're living in the day of the Ruwaybida. Who are the Ruwaybida? They're social media influencers, to be honest. Okay, and many of the people will influence you socially under the guidelines of Islam, when in reality, these are brothers and sisters who have no knowledge, no understanding of the basics of Islam. They're not qualified to even talk about Islam, but they do it for the money, because there's a lot of money to be made on YouTube, and you all know that. Social media brings forth a lot of money. All you got to do is get 1 million subscribers. If you can get 1 million subscribers, you can make millions of dollars, as you all know, and not have to work a real job in your life. And that's what a lot of these young Muslim men and women are doing now. They're making YouTube channels, TikTok channels, Facebook channels, and they have the gift of gab. They're able to speak articulately, and they're beautiful to look at. We have to keep our appearance nice. You know, that's why I try to look nice too. We're supposed to be beautiful in our appearance as long as we are dressed in accordance to the Quran and Sunnah. And then they get you in. They talk about things that you want to hear, like marriage. They talk about things that appeal to the soul, like sex. They talk about things that are bad and dirty, because that's what attracts the human soul, that which is bad and dirty, you know. And they even indulge in a lot of backbiting, slander, kafir calling, debating with Christians, and all of that. These Muslim social media influencers, and they do it, you know, to appeal to the criminal nature of yourself, so you will subscribe to their channels. And we're going to talk about that, because remember, our soul is attracted to all that bad stuff that you hear. Our soul is attracted to all that debating and arguing and fighting and kafir calling and all of that. So that's going to be our topic. And Brother Muhammad Ziada, you know, who is a law enforcement agent, he will speak about his experiences with this, how it destroys the youth of this nation, because it's pushing the youth of this nation in a negative direction. How it destroys the women. I'm going to speak about it. I am going to speak about how it's destroying the women of this nation, how these social media influencers are causing women to apostate from Islam at high rates, because of the garbage that they're telling women that they can't do, and the garbage they're telling women that they should do for a man. So we're going to talk about that. That's this Friday, you know, from 9 to 11 p.m. Please mark that down on your schedules. The Ask Sister Layla live show, special guest Brother Muhammad Ziada and Dr. Ibrahim Durmali, who is one of our resident scholars here at Sunnahfollowers. Okay, so I put out a lot of shorts yesterday. The sisters had asked me a question yesterday, and you know, I'm going to answer the question thoroughly. I'm not going to give y'all no little yes, no answers like a lot of these social media, Islamic social media influencers do. You know, I'm going to give you the answer based on what Allah says, based on what the Prophet said, and I'm going to give you examples from the companions, because that's the way we roll. Those of us who are truly upon the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the first generation of Muslims. So I didn't know that I answered that sister's question, but I didn't know it would turn into such a good thing. So I made some shorts. Did you guys see the shorts I put out? The people here on YouTube, Facebook, Sakina, Margaret, Amina, did you guys see the shorts I put out from yesterday's talk about there's the thin line between obedience and worship? Did y'all see my shorts? I put out 3 of them. Yeah, you know, because a lot of you sisters like that. I tried to emphasize the 3 main parts, and they're only 30-second shorts. They're real shorts, like 30 seconds. Yeah, I hope they help you guys, because I want you sisters to keep that in mind. There is a thin line between obedience and worship. Your soul is going to push you to worship someone where the fitra of your heart is trying to tell you to balance it. Yeah, you liked it too, Amina? Good. Yeah, I try to keep it. And I know we got too many shorts out there. You know, I got Brother Ahmad and Sister Geechee working with me, but I just, you know, I let them know we don't need to be doing the same thing over and over again. So we just be patient with Sunnah followers. You know, we're working on it. We're trying to get it together and be more professional. You know, I have to reinforce again, don't go behind somebody and do the same short. You know, in fact, won't be no more shorts for a minute. So y'all can digest the ones that's out. Okay. So just bear with us, but you like the ones I put out, and Geechee put a couple of out too, and brother Emma put some out too. All right. So just check out the shorts, and we're going to hold off on the shorts for a minute. But yeah, I tried to emphasize that because there's a thin line between obedience and worship. You know, we were created to worship Allah. That's what the fitra is all about. We were created to worship Allah. We were not created to worship a human being, or, you know, not your mother, not your father. Some of you parents are bad with that too. And I did mention that yesterday. There are some parents who try to make their children think that they're supposed to obey them in every single thing they say. And that's not true. You know, we obey our parents regarding the things that Allah commanded us to obey them in. Just like with the husband, we obey these people of authority in regard up to what's the limit? The limit is what Allah told you to obey them in. And that's it. That's it. That's it. If your parents tell you to do something that contradicts Allah, we tell them, no way, Jose, to. Okay? Your mother tells you, you know, that she doesn't want you to wear hijab. No way, Jose. It's just that simple. Because this is something my Lord commanded me to do. Of course, you said in a nice way. And believe it or not, your mother is always going to test you. This is for the kids with the little question they ask me. Your mother is always going to test you, no matter how old you are. I'm 62 years old, and my mother still will test me. If I were to decide to marry somebody, do you know my mother thinks that she can tell me who to marry when she can't? If I wanted to get married, my mother to this day believes that if I chose to marry Genghis Khan, say I said I'm going to marry Genghis Khan, my mother think that I got to listen to her. No, I don't, sweetheart. You ain't my guardian, number one. And number two, I'm an old woman. Can't nobody stop me from getting married. Not you, not my brothers, nobody. Because the prophet said, any woman that's experienced knows herself better than you know her. And you can't stop me. Okay, so you're going to deal with the thing with your mother all your life. And I'm going to tell you where that comes from. Because so many Muslims were deceived into believing that paradise is under the throne of the foot of their mother. That hadith is not authentic. That's a fabricated hadith. Paradise is not under the foot of your mother. That hadith is made up. Okay? But that's why a lot of people think, oh, if my mother tell me to do something, I have to, even if it's against what Allah says. Nope. 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 So this is something that we have to understand as Muslims. Allah comes first and foremost. We choose him over our mother, over our father, over our husband, over our children. Some women here worship their kids. Some of you women are obedient to your children. How many of you sisters got sons who live in your house with you and they selling drugs? We're going to talk about that on Friday too, because that's a big problem. I got a lot of sisters here who love their kids so much, especially them boys. You know that your son is selling drugs from out of your house and you allowing him to do it. because he's just a knucklehead. That's what one sister told me. One sister told me, oh, Sister Layla, what am I supposed to do? He's a good boy. He's just a knucklehead. You're supposed to put him out. He's a 23-year-old knucklehead that's selling drugs from out of your house. You're allowing it. Or is he your God? What does the law say about that? So we're going to talk about all that. So again, that obedience, that's why I put that short out. You know, there's a thin line between obedience and worship. Obedience and worship. We have to have that love for Allah and that wala for Allah that those female companions that we talked about had. That example, the wife of Julebib that we went over yesterday. Her parents did not want her to marry Julebib. Her mother threw a fit. Said, over my dead body will I allow my daughter to marry that deformed man. She stood up to her mother. She stood up to her father. She recited the verse of the Quran where Allah says, if the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam makes a decision, you have no choice but to obey him. And what he said, she recited that verse. And she looked at her mother, looked at her father and said, now take me to the prophet so he can marry me to this man. Okay, so y'all have to get it together. We need to have that type of allegiance. Allah doesn't give any human being on this planet that much power over you. Not your parents, not your husband. No one. Allah doesn't put anyone equal to him. This world is meant to be a test for us to see if we believe in him. Are you going to choose your mama over Allah, over the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? That was that young girl's test. Her mother said, I'm your mother. I'm your mother. She said, but you are not my Lord. And that is the messenger of Allah. He said for me to marry him. So I'm marrying him. Are you going to have that type of strength and resilience? Most of us don't today. We're weak. Just weaklings. That's why I'm doing the story of those female companions, so you guys can see we have to learn how to strike the balance. Remember, as Muslims, we are people of dignity, humility, and balance. Balance in our love, balance in our allegiance, balance in our disassociation. El wala wal bara. And balance. And that's what we've been speaking about here. Everybody understand? Okay, so for those of you who are new and who have not yet bought the book, this is our Aqidah class, the most important class that is taught here. And we are studying from the book written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. In fact, this is a trilogy. We did the first book called Get to Know Your Lord, because that's what it's all about. It's all about getting to know Allah. Once you embark upon this beautiful way of life, the first thing you have to do is get to know your Lord, get to know Allah, get to know what he requires of you, get to know what he commands us to do, what to believe. And we cover that in the first wonderful book, Get to Know Your Lord. And then we did the second of the trilogy, Diluting Wala Wal Bara, Volume 2, which is the second part of that Shahada. Get to know your Lord is La ilaha illallah, the first part. Diluting Wala Wal Bara, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the second part. It talks about our allegiance as Muslims, our allegiance is supposed to be to Allah first and foremost, then to the Prophet Muhammad as that beautiful companion whose name is unknown to this day. The wife of Julebib. Her name is unknown, but her virtues and her merits have gone down in history. She was able to distance herself from what her parents wanted her to do, because there's no obedience to you over Allah and his messenger. Y'all understand that? Okay. So make sure you guys who are new here go to Amazon.com and you need to buy volume 1. And this is a 2-volume. This is volume 2. We completed, it took us a whole year. It took us a year to do the first book, Get to Know Your Lord. It took us another year to do the second book, which was Diluting Wala Wal Bara, volume 1. We just began volume 2, which is over 500 and some pages. It'll probably take us 2 years because we're doing 2 pages. We can only do 2 pages at a time. There's so much information here that needs to be explained and addressed that we're only doing 2 pages a day. So today we're doing pages 77 through 79. So make sure you guys go to Amazon.com, and it's called Diluting Wala Wal Bara, volume 2. The book is written by Kareem Abu Zayd. Get volume 1. And get to know your Lord too. Get all 3 books. The books are $19.99. They're worth over $119.99. That's how valuable this knowledge is. And I'm going to tell you something. When you get the book, you will see you can't read it on your own. I was listening to one person say how they, I got Kareem Abu Zayd's books. But you still don't understand it because you can't teach yourself this religion. You guys can buy his books. I guarantee you, you read them, you're not going to understand nothing. You have to have a person of knowledge, such as myself, teach you. Okay? You cannot teach yourself Islam. And this is another problem we're going to address on Friday about social media influencers. These are self-taught men and self-taught women. That's why they're leading you straight to the hellfire. You cannot teach yourself this deen. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said you have to sit with the people of knowledge and learn directly. I didn't teach myself this deen, okay? I was born Muslim. Even though I'm of Arabic background, I was raised in the USA. But I learned from true scholars of the ulama beginning at the age of 7. I didn't teach myself. I learned from real scholars of the ulama, and I have one that's still living today, and y'all met him on the Q&A a couple of weeks ago. That was Abu Atiyah. Okay? So we can't teach ourselves. You buy the book, you read it, you're going to still walk around blowing bubbles. You're not going to know what is going on. So that's why we have these classes here. And alhamdulillah, a lot of you are benefiting from my class here. So get the book. And by the way, the money is not expensive. The money that you guys are spending on these books, they go to help fund Sunnahfollowers.org. That's the online school that Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd has put together. You know, and I encourage all of you to put your children, you know, in Sunnahfollowers.org homeschool. Okay? Put it in homeschool. Your children should be homeschooled by you through Sunnahfollowers.org, which is the school that Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd put together. His tuition is very inexpensive. That's how he can keep the prices down, because the money that he makes from the books, helps to keep those, to pay for the teachers and all of that. So please, guys, go to Amazon.com and buy all three. Get to Know Your Lord, Diluting Wala Wal Bara, Volume 1, which we covered both of them. And now this is Volume 2. And for those of you who are new, don't worry, because I'll be teaching this class again. So if you missed out on Volume 1 and you missed out on Get to Know Your Lord, don't worry. We'll get to it again. I'm going to go around again with it. So don't worry. All right. So today, Alhamdulillah, today we're covering pages 77 through 79. Take your books out. Yesterday, we spoke about how we can reignite our hearts. In other words, how to bring a dead heart or a sick heart. What's a dead heart? What's a sick heart? This is a Muslim who hasn't been practicing their religion or hasn't been practicing it well. So their faith is weak or their faith has totally disappeared. And we talk about faith, we're talking about your belief in Allah. What can I do to revive my heart, to wake it up, to wake up the light of the fitra, to get me back on track with Allah? We spoke about some things we can do to awaken that. And then yesterday, we also spoke about, however, there are pitfalls too. Once you awaken that light back up, or once you even attempt to get yourself back on track and practicing your deen, Shaitan will throw things at you. He will do things to try to take you back away from Allah. That's what we spoke about yesterday. Well, today we're going to continue on. So let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen. And by the way, for everyone listening, my students particularly, make sure you screenshot on using your phone or whatever you're using. When I put the PowerPoints up, I use PowerPoint. I am a professional teacher. I'm a professional dyer, but I'm also a professional teacher. Hello. Yeah, got to put some humor in here. So, yeah, so take, when I put the PowerPoint up, take screenshots so you can print the PowerPoint out at the end of the class from your phone and then staple it together and attach it to page 77 of the book, because that's where the page will, today's lecture will begin. Hold on, I'm trying to, okay, okay. Oh, I can do it on one. The brother showed me how to do it on one computer, right? Okay. For the brother that helped me, here I go again today. Let me try it. He showed me. How did he tell me to do it? He said, go to Zoom. Okay, I'm coming to you guys first and share you. Okay. Give me a second, guys. I'm doing what this brother taught me to do yesterday. I got it written down here. Okay, hold on. Y'all gonna see the space. Everybody else will see the space. People in Zoom, let me share y'all to the right thing. He said, I share you to this. Okay, that's you. You guys are shared. And didn't he tell me to cut off my camera, right? He said, cut off your camera. So cut off the camera. And then go here. For everybody else, put up the PowerPoint, allow. I got to walk myself through it. Bam. Can everybody see now? People on Zoom, can y'all see the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I did it right. I'm so excited. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I wrote it down. Let me let the brother know. He's by the way, he's texting me. He's on standby. Oh, I got it. Look. Oh, he says he sees it. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. So now let's make it big screen let me follow my steps. He said, click on the PowerPoint. I just did. Now just work your PowerPoint. And my camera's off, right? He said, work your PowerPoint. There we go. Here, can everybody see the one page? Did I do it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I did it. Thank you, brother. All right, so we're going to be covering pages 77 through 79. Yesterday, we spoke about the pitfalls that stand in the way of your faith increasing. Well, today, we're going to cover how there are certain behaviors that you may indulge in, or that I may indulge in as a Muslim, that can prevent us from growing spiritually. Because once we awaken our faith, once my belief in Allah has been revived, the key now is to keep it growing. And your personal jinn is not going to like that. He doesn't like that your faith has been revived. So he's going to try to whisper to you to do things that you shouldn't do, that will stand in the way of you continuing to grow closer to Allah. So let's look at some of those things. And one of the things that he'll do is he'll make you tolerate doing things that are haram. Okay? He'll make you do things, accept behavior, or engage in actions that contradict the teachings of Islam. What does that mean? Innovation. Okay, your personal jinn, he sees that you are now making your prayers. So what he's going to do is try to get you to innovate. What's one of the number one innovations that people do when they pray? After they finish praying, they blow in their hands and make dua and wipe over their face. No, this is wrong. The supplication should be made when you are prostrating. You should make whatever personal supplications you have should be made when you're prostrating. And despite what people tell you, your personal supplications can be in any language, whatever language you speak, not Arabic. Personal supplications are not the same as the specific supplications. Personal supplications can be in whatever language you speak, because language comes from Allah. He's the creator of all language. There's even a hadith that says the angels that surround the throne of Allah, they glorify and praise Allah in every language known by man, and languages not even known by us, because they all came from Allah. So when you hear these rigid brothers make you Muslims feel like you can never talk to Allah unless you speak Arabic, I'm sorry, that's racism. That's just another form of superiority. Remember, we talked about that yesterday. The human soul wants to be superior than others. We got some Arabic men and Arabic women that want to think that because they're Arabic, they're better than you. Allah didn't make no mistake in giving you English as a language. You had nothing to do with it. And just to let you guys know, Arabs haven't spoken the classical Arabic in centuries. Okay? So your personal supplications can be in whatever language you speak. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to increase your supplications when you are prostrating, because that is the most humble position that man can take before his Lord. That's an authentic hadith. The source, Bukhari and Muslim. And he did not say it has to be in Arabic. Where? There's nothing, no hadith that says it has to be in Arabic. Not your personal supplications. Now the tashahhud, that's different. That's Arabic, because the Prophet taught us how to say the tashahhud in Arabic. The Fatiha, that must be in Arabic, because Fatiha is not in English, it's in Arabic. But your personal dua, whatever language you speak. So this is an example as to how your personal jinn will try to get you to engage in actions that contradict the teachings of Allah. He'll try to make you make dua after the prayer, or not make personal dua at all, because some nincompoop told you, because you don't speak Arabic, you can't talk to Allah in your language. Both of those examples are examples of this. And so many Muslims, as a daya, I was born and raised in the USA, even though my father's Egyptian. I am from the El Sadat family. El Sadat. But I have seen in my 62 years too many Muslims tell me that they don't talk to Allah because somebody told them they don't speak Arabic, so Allah only hears the person in Arabic. Where's the dalil? Abraham, Allah took Prophet Ibrahim as a personal friend. Did Ibrahim speak Arabic? No, he did not. Jonah was in the belly of a whale, and he called upon Allah, made dua so much that the fish in the sea supplicated with him. Did the fish speak Arabic? Did Jonah speak Arabic? No. Moses. Allah doesn't mention any prophet in the Quran more than he does Moses, and Allah spoke directly without any angel to Moses. Did Moses speak Arabic? No, he did not. So I want y'all to get over these misconceptions, because these misconceptions that y'all hear from speakers that don't base their information on authentic hadiths, they can cause you to engage in actions that contradict the teachings of Allah. We have to be aware of that. Also, another thing that can stand between your spiritual growth, and I'm here to tell you guys, how can you establish ibadah or a personal relationship with Allah if you don't talk to him? People been Muslim for 50, 60, 70 years and never talked to Allah because they were told they can't because they don't speak Arabic. That definitely will stand between you strengthening your spiritual tie to him. Also, so be careful. Be careful who these speakers are y'all listening to. If they telling you crap like that and they don't have the clearness, the clear verse. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the lawful and the unlawful have been clearly defined by Allah. If someone tells you something is haram, there's going to be a clear verse. Where's the clear verse that says Allah doesn't hear you unless you speak Arabic? You cannot talk to your Lord in no language but Arabic. You're saying Allah made a mistake. Astaghfirullah. Be careful who y'all listen to. All right. Another thing that can stand in the way of your spiritual growth is hanging around and associating with the heedless people. What are the heedless people? The people that don't practice Islam. The people that don't wear hijab. You sisters should not be personal, intimate friends with any woman who does not wear a hijab and dress in an abaya. Because our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person takes on the religion of his or her associates. And you shouldn't be personal, intimate friends with non-Muslims at all. Period. Okay? So, bad behavior. The bad behavior of surrounding yourself with people who don't listen to Allah. People who don't take this religion seriously. This will stand in the way of you getting closer to Allah. And you better hope that Allah don't send a lightning bolt down on you. And I want you guys to remember, Allah tells us in the Quran, in the interpretation of the meaning, do not sit in the company of those who commit sin. Why would I sit in the company of a bunch of sisters that don't wear hijab? Why would I sit in the company of a bunch of people that smoke cigarettes, smoke drugs? Why would I be in the company, of people who disobey a law? If a law decides to send a thunderbolt, it's going to hit you too. So associating with people who are heedless to the words of Allah, this is going to stop you from growing spiritually. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the companions to surround yourself with strong Muslims. Who were the Prophet's best friends? His closest friends were Abu Bakr and Umar. And Abu Bakr and Umar are the strongest of this nation. Abu Bakr will be the first person to enter paradise after the Prophet Muhammad, and Umar will be the second. And they were his closest associates. Excuse me, moderators, take care of that person on the mic. Okay, also, another thing that will stand in the way of your personal growth or your connection with Allah is negative self-talk, followed by pessimism. What do I mean by that? This is something as a daya and as an American Muslim that I noticed. I grew up in the 60s. Oh, yeah. I grew up here in America, and in the 60s, that was the civil rights movement in America's history. It was all about Black pride, and it was all it was all about Islamic pride for me, for my people that I was with. And one of the things that I was raised upon as a child is you are la crème de la crème. That's what my mother used to tell me. My mother's Creole. She would say, tu es la crème de la crème. You are the cream of the crop. The cream of the crop. No one is better than you who does not believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Because back when I grew up, we didn't have no Islamic schools in the 60s. There was no Islamic this. In fact, a lot of people didn't even know what Sunni Islam was. It was all about Elijah Muhammad. I didn't come from Elijah Muhammad. SubhanAllah, I was always raised upon the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not every Muslim in America is from Elijah Muhammad. My community ain't. I'm not. Mukhtar ain't. None of us. We were raised upon Siratul Mustaqim. And when we were raised, we were taught that we are the best. No one can outdo us in anything. I remember my stepfather and my mother telling me, Layla, don't ever underestimate yourself. You can do anything you want to do. You can fly if you want. My mother told me that. And to this day, I said, I can fly if I want. And I can. If I want to learn how to fly an airplane, I can learn it. I can teach myself, and I can do it. I can put on some of those wings and skydive too, if I want to. Okay? We have to get this self-respect back. Back in the 60s, we had self-love, self-respect, self-confidence. This is the inner pride that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us is incumbent to have in order to be a believer. He said there's two different types of pride, inner pride and outer pride. One of the companions said, what's the difference? And another companion said, oh, Prophet of Allah, I like to wear nice shoes, and I'm proud of the nice shoes I have. Is this the type of pride that's going to take me to hell? The Prophet said, no, that's inner pride. We have to have a love for yourself, respect for yourself, and confidence and appreciation of the things you work hard to do. He said the type of pride that's haram is the arrogance. It's when you take the inner pride and you begin to think that you are superior over others, that no one is equal to you, that you're better and above others. That's the type of pride that will damn you to the hellfire forever. That's a sin of disbelief. That's the type of pride Iblis has. We need to learn the difference between the two, because so many children today in 2024, they have no self-respect, no self-love. They put themselves down. They doubt themselves. They grew up to be adults that have self-doubt. They focus more on their flaws instead of the good. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad taught us to look to the good in things. And there's good in everything. You recognize your faults and try to correct them. But don't sit there. Remember, everything is balanced. Don't sit there and focus on your faults to the point where you think that you are insufficient and you are not worthy of being forgiven. We have to learn as Muslims to implement wala wal bara, allegiance and disassociation. I'm going to disassociate myself from those qualities that will take me away from Allah. And I'm going to have allegiance to myself about the qualities that are good in me, that'll bring me closer to Allah. It's about balance. Negative self-talk, negative and pessimistic views of yourself, always thinking the worst. Woe unto me. Self-pity. Self-pity comes from your Iblis, your shaitan that's assigned to you. Feeling sorry for yourself. Loneliness. We got to balance that stuff out. We all get lonely, but balance it. Learn and understand that you're never alone. Those angels of mercy are always surrounding you. They're always making dua for you. Every time you recite the Quran, they put their mouth on your mouth and kiss you. Did y'all know that? When you recite the Quran, the angels of mercy put their mouth on your mouth. Subhanallah, you're never alone. Just because we can't see the friends of Allah doesn't mean that they're not there. So negative talk, pessimism, all of that stuff can stand in the way of your physical growth towards Allah. Also, resistance to change. As your fitra burns bright, and as your fitra tries to find its way back to Allah, that personal jinn assigned to your heart, he's going to resist it. Resistance limits your potential to grow. Resistance limits your potential to learn. A sister tells you, wow, you know what? I was listening to this amazing woman on YouTube. Her name is Layla Nashiba. Boy, her voice, something about her voice, it woke me up. And what she was saying was so true. She was talking about the thin line between obedience and worship. I want you to come and listen to this, sister. So you go and listen. I start talking. Now your jinn, he gets to whispering her voice. Her voice is scary. Her voice is loud. She sounds like a man. I ain't never heard a woman talk that way, and you never will. Because very few women follow the Sunnah today. We're living in the days in which Islam is strange. We live in the days in which people think that women are supposed to walk around sounding like Marilyn Monroe, when Allah clearly tells the believing woman, never, don't you ever soften your voice and make it sweet publicly. When you speak publicly, speak in a loud voice. But we don't know that. because our faith is so weak. So that's an example, resistance to change. Our jinn is trying to get us to resist changing, resist finding our way back to Allah. This is where, again, Wala Wal Bara comes in. We have to disassociate from our personal jinn. We have to disassociate from those rigid belief systems. Let me give an example of that. Your fitra has been lit. You're seeking, Allah. Your iman is so strong that all of a sudden some brother comes and tells you that because you a woman, you can't wear a pretty hijab. You got to dress ugly and be shabby. Rigid beliefs. We have to disassociate from rigid beliefs, rigid attachments, preconceived notions that stand in the way of our personal development. Does everybody understand that? We have to make dua, asking Allah, asking Allah, say, oh Allah, I want to learn this deen. I want to learn it the correct way. Oh Allah, I want to get closer to you. Guide me to the correct knowledge. Guide me to the correct way. Allah tells us in the Quran, anyone that asks for guidance, He will guide you. If you make that supplication, He will direct you to the proper people to learn from. He will direct you to the true Islam, the same way many of you have been directed here to hear from me. So resistance to change. Remember, any change for the good that you make, your personal jinn is going to try to resist it. Also, another issue that stands in the way of your spiritual growth is unhealthy relationships. You're in a marriage, like I was telling you married sisters yesterday. You got an oppressive man trying to break you. Remember, the prophet warned the men against that. He said, don't bend a woman too much because you're going to break her. You are in an abusive relationship where this man doesn't want to see you grow. And there's a lot of relationships like that. You marry a man, he sees that you're growing in your relationship with Allah. You're practicing your deen. It makes him angry because he doesn't practice. He don't wear a beard. He doesn't pray. He doesn't go to the mosque. And now that you're practicing, he becomes emotionally abusive towards you. You got to get out of that relationship. A lot of sisters tell me, oh, Sister Layla, what do you do if you're married to a man that don't pray? Do you have to ask? If you're married to a man that don't pray, you get a divorce, because Layla wouldn't be married to such a man. If a man doesn't pray, he can go. Do you think Aisha would have been married to a man that didn't pray? Do you think Salama would marry a man that didn't pray? Do you think the wife of Julebid would have married a man who didn't pray? If he don't pray, he shouldn't be married to you. He should have been on the curb long time ago. Unhealthy relationships erode our self-esteem. Unhealthy relationships, they impede on boundary setting, the boundary between worship and obedience. Unhealthy relationships, they interfere with the positive connections that we have with Allah and with the righteous believers. So that can stand in the way of your growth. Get rid of the unhealthy relationships. Get rid of them. And whatever you get rid of for the sake of Allah, Allah promises He'll send you better. Okay? Also, another a thing that stands between your growth with Allah, your spiritual growth, is giving in to the allure of the soul and the invitation of Iblis. Remember, the human soul is criminal by nature. The human soul is attracted to everything that's bad for it. We have to resist those attractions. A lot of people ask me, Sister Layla, why don't you leave the house? Why don't you go out and visit people? Because that's going to lead to trouble. I'm a nice looking woman. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. I look pretty good. The way y'all see me, anybody that know me in real life, this is how I look. And when I go out the house, I always attract the little young boys. I'm talking 20s and 30s. I'm talking green-eyed, long ponytail, what they call it, the bow tail, the man tail, tall, 6'4", olive skin. They're usually Greek, Italian. I attract them. And they always like to hoover around. You look beautiful today. I love that that dress you have on. And oh my God, that thing on your head, you really stand out. Layla stays away. I don't got time to play. Ain't nothing out there but Shaitan, guys. Shaitan will test you, with the things that he knows you're weak to. Layla's weak to the little handsome, dark, tall boy bun, Italian, stallion, Greek, even Turkish men. So Layla stays away. I'm a DeBarge girl. What can I say? I'm from the 60s. I grew up in the 80s. DeBarge, the little boys that look like little girls. That's how pretty they were. So I stay home. What's out there? Trouble, Shaitan. So again, you need to know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and stay away from that stuff. Don't accept the invitation of Iblis. Don't accept the invitation of Shaitan, guys. Once you accept that invitation, you can't take it back. And he will burn that fitra out so quick and have you sitting up on the curb blowing bubbles without a hijab on, crying about how you're going to find your way back home again. Hello. Your home is better for you, sisters. Also, so we see by integrating the principles of Wala Wal Bara, it's all about allegiance. Having allegiance towards Allah, towards the Prophet, to the religion and the things Allah commands us to do, and disassociating ourselves from those things that can take us away from Allah. By doing this, this will help prevent us from falling victim to the pitfalls of bad behavior that can help burn our light back out, or can keep us from making that strong connection to Allah. We need to surround ourselves with strong, righteous, believing Muslims, strong, righteous, practicing Muslims. Muslims, for you brothers, you need to surround yourself with other brothers who like to pray at the mosque, because the mosque is where your blessings lie. And you sisters need to surround yourselves with sisters who dress the part and like to stay at home, because your home is better for you as a woman. You can connect on the internet like we do here in our Zoom room. We connect, we from all over the world. We come here and we're best of friends. We turn on our cameras, we talk, we interact here in Zoom. But we stay home because our homes are better for us. The Italian stallions will take you out, and so will those Greekers. All right. So, embracing Wala Wal Bara, it empowers us to recognize and rectify our bad behaviors. We become more thoughtful in identifying the actions and thoughts that can take us away from Allah. Also, showing our allegiance to Allah compels us to not fall victim to the pitfalls such as laziness, which is what we talked about yesterday, wastefulness, we talked about yesterday, and a lack of discipline. Instead, we replace those things with enthusiasm and purposeful pursuits and commitment to improving ourselves and helping our fitra find its way back to Allah. So the principles of Wala Wal Bara will strengthen our certainty of faith to the point that we know that each day that Allah allows us to wake up, that day could be our last day on earth. So we're going to make the best choices that we can for ourselves. We're going to do the deeds that are pleasing to Allah. So in case this is our last day on earth, we go out in a good ending. And we're going to stay away from those things in this world that can cause us to doubt and question our purpose. We're going to disassociate and stay away from those things in this world that can bring about anxieties regarding our faith. Okay? Also, we're going to work hard to keep the light of the fitra in our heart burning. And the way to keep it burning, again, is to stay away from all the pitfalls that we talked about and to embrace the fact that we were created to worship Allah. Not man, not woman, not jinn, not angel, not animal, not the sun, not the moon. We were created to worship Allah, and He put us here to test us in how we worship Him. Are we going to transgress the limits? Are we going to transgress the limits in our obedience to Him, our obedience to our parents, our obedience to our husbands? That's the question. So now let's see how well you guys understood what we discussed the past couple of days. And I really want to see if you guys were paying attention to yesterday's lecture. So I'm going to give you a quiz that's going to cover, again, yesterday and today. Let's look at the first question. What are some of the pitfalls that stand in the way of our spiritual growth? What are some of the pitfalls we talked about that stand in the way of our spiritual growth? Who can answer that?
One is not having self-love or self-confidence.
Is that a pitfall? It could be.
Oh.
It could be, but I'm really talking about yesterday.
One of them is laziness.
Exactly.
And just like nonsensical stuff.
Exactly. Laziness. This is a pitfall. Your personal jinn will want you to procrastinate making your prayers, to do like the sister in my Zoom room. I'm not going to name her. I hope she's in there. She said she has not fasted in 2 years. She did not make up her fast in 2 years. What the heck stopped you? You procrastinated. You allowed your jinn to cause you to lose out on the reward of fasting for 2 years. That's a pitfall. Procrastination. It's a serious thing. What's another pitfall, guys, that can stand in the way of our spiritual growth? Come on, guys. Procrastination. Come on.
Being too attached to this world.
Mashallah. Thank you, AY. How many of us are too attached to this world? You don't have time to go to the mosque to pray your prayers as a man, but you got time to go play basketball every weekend with those kafirs. You got time to go to the gym when you shouldn't be going to the gym because you're sitting there with all them kafir women looking at them. Good job. What's another pitfall that stands in the way of our spiritual growth?
Can it be like selfish, greed?
It could be, but that's not what we talked about. What did we talk about yesterday?
Ignorance of Allah.
That's what I'm looking for. Not learning the deen. You got to come up with every excuse in the world to not learn this religion. I don't like her. Her voice is too harsh. Allah said it's supposed to be. You should love her. Your voice should be like hers too. Okay? Every excuse. Oh, I got something to do. You know, I'd rather listen to this sister over here because her voice is soft and she makes me laugh. Making you laugh, is that beneficial knowledge? You rather listen to somebody talk about something that ain't got nothing to do with bringing you closer to Allah. You're ignorant of the deen. And before you know it, you're going to die. And the angels are going to ask you, didn't Allah send messengers for you to learn from? But you chose to listen to the Ruwaybida who had you laughing. Well, now you can laugh your way to the hellfire. Okay? Any other pitfalls that stand in the way?
On YouTube, Sister Sakina said, fear of failure.
MashaAllah. That's a big one. Fear of failure. What's the point in me struggling? This is what the Mu'tazilah say. What's the point in me practicing? Allah already wrote if I'm going to be in paradise or hell. So what's the point in me trying? I ain't going to make it anyway. Good job. What else?
Asham said, wasting time on useless things.
MashaAllah. Wasting time watching TV, playing soccer, when that was time you could have spent here at Sunnah Followers. Our classes are every day from 6 to 10 o'clock. And on the weekends from 2 to 10 o'clock. And we getting ready to change it, guys. Starting on the 12th, Dr. Ibrahim Darmali and Dr. Ali Shahada, who used to teach here before. They will be doing Akida classes at 10 o'clock in the morning. We getting ready to go around the clock. You getting ready to have lectures around the clock. So what's your excuse for not learning your deen? You're wasting your time on nonsense. What other questions? Go ahead. What other answers?
Sister Isra said, not seeking true beneficial knowledge about our religion. A lot of us don't even know the basics of Islam.
Good job. What else they got? That's all they got?
Sister Jamila said, having ignorance feeling like you can't talk to Allah because you listen to your weakness.
Exactly.
And Fatima said, worldly obligations.
Exactly. Getting caught up in your job. Oh, I need to go make some overtime, so I ain't got time to listen to the class. Stuff like that. All of those things y'all mentioned are pitfalls that stand in the way of our spiritual growth. Good job. I'm proud of y'all. This was from yesterday. Y'all remember. And what about this? What are some of the things that we can do to awaken the light of the fitra within us? In other words, what are some things we can do to increase our iman, to increase our belief in Allah, that will wake it up, that will wake up our belief in Allah, in other words?
Reflect on your flaws.
Good job. One of the things is reflecting on your flaws. And what do you do then? When you reflect on them, what do?
You change your flaws from bad to good.
Exactly. And how do you do that? By repenting too. Repenting. When you look at the bad things you've done, look at the flaws within yourself. Like she said, change yourself. Allah said he will never change the condition of a person until that person makes the attempt to change the condition of himself. Look at your weaknesses. Look at the flaws. Look at the sinful actions you've done. Stop doing the sins. Feel bad about it. Be determined to never do it again and ask Allah to forgive you. And to ask Allah to forgive you and ask Allah to forgive you. And then you keep it moving. You see you got a problem with backbiting. Stop backbiting. Start doing something productive with your mouth, like learning how to recite the Fatiha. Most Muslims here in America don't know the Fatiha correctly. Okay? And they even more don't know the Tashahhud at all. Use your tongue in a positive way. Good job. What are some other things that will awaken the light within us?
Sister Sakina, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say one of the things that help is by recognizing the good that Allah has given us, recognizing His blessings that He has given us.
Exactly. If we take the time, now y'all understand what that old saying is. How many of us take the time to smell the roses? That's what that means. We get so caught up in the negativity of life. We get so caught up in the what we don't have and how bad it is. We need to take the time to smell the roses. Look at the good things Allah has given you. He blessed you with nice home, a way of maintaining yourself, providing for yourself. You got a nice car. Your health is good. You got nice hair, nice clothes, nice body. You got good children, good grandkids, good husband, good parents, nice family. If we would take the time to smell the roses in life, to look at the blessings of Allah, that'll help to awaken that belief in Him. That'll help us to awaken that light and make us trust in Him and depend upon Him, because we know that He's in control of all things. Good job, Atifa. What are some more things that awaken the light?
Okay, Sister Sakina said seeking knowledge from the people of knowledge. And Halima said seeking knowledge as well. Bint Muhammad said admit the sins, the shortcomings, and seek forgiveness from Allah, and surround yourself with righteous people practicing the deen and who will encourage you.
MashaAllah, all of three of those answers are the best. Yes, we have to be regular, be consistent. We cannot fall short, guys, in learning this religion. This is how I lose a lot of Muslims. A lot of people come during Ramadan. They all pumped up. Their faith is all lit up from my classes. Then after Ramadan, they stop coming and they fall back into their sins. The Prophet Muhammad said Allah loves for us to do good deeds according to our capabilities and be consistent. You have to be regular and consistent in seeking knowledge. You can't just seek it once a year. It's got to be an everyday thing. That's why my classes are every day. Every single day of the year, even on the day of the Eid. Yes. So, mashallah, those are all good things. What else? Any other ones? Y'all didn't mention one that really works for me. Death. Death. You want to awaken a person's dead heart? Take them to a graveyard. Make them clean a dead body. Go to a morgue and look at them dead bodies in the morgue. Sometimes it takes something like that to awaken your life. These are for people whose hearts are completely black. These are for people whose faith is gone. A Muslim that ain't practiced, he's so caught up in the life of this world, you want to awaken his light again, you got to take him to the morgue, something like that. Or a calamity, any type of calamity or hardship. For some of us, it's the calamities that awaken the light. Okay? Next question. List some behaviors that a person may indulge in that can stand in the way of your spiritual journey. What are some behaviors that we may indulge in that will stand in the way of our spiritual journey back to Allah? What kind of behaviors we talked about today?
Innovating in the way we worship Allah, like adding things to the prayer or stuff that we do and just
Exactly. Innovations, incorrect practice of the obligations. Good job. What else?
Procrastination, like putting off the times that you may do your prayers or something like that instead of doing them, in a timely fashion.
Exactly. Procrastination. That's a terrible behavior that can stand in the way. What else?
Self-doubt.
Yes. Doubting yourself. That's why I have to tell a lot of my students here, stop doubting yourself. You know the answer, just say it. Certainty of faith is in your heart. Just don't allow your jinn to make you think that it's not. Yeah, self-doubt or self-pessimism will stand in the way of your spiritual growth. Good job. What else?
Being personal friends with people who are Muslim in name only and not practice, or being personal friends with people who do not believe in the law.
Exactly. That's real important. Who are you surrounded by? Who do you associate with? You're associating with people who are weak in their faith, people that don't practice, people that are bad influences, people who are heedless to Allah. They don't obey Allah. So why are you sitting with them? Why are you hanging out with them? Good job. Any other behaviors?
Sister Halima said ignorance. Fatima said being around people who don't worship Allah. And Denisha said wasting time.
Good job. All of those are good too. All of them. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. You all did so well with the quiz. I can tell you guys like this topic. Subhanallah, because I am very proud. You know, sometimes y'all make me angry because y'all don't get these answers right, but mashallah, y'all been killing it for the past week. I can tell this whole series. I told this is why I love this book. As you guys know, I've been teaching Islam on the internet since 1986. I've been doing this longer than any of these famous brothers, including Mufti Mink. Ain't none of them been on this internet longer than Layla Nashiba. My website was the first website created, to be honest, using voice technology. Those little white college kids from out of Southern California, we were all IRC operators back on FNet back in the days, the 80s. And they said, Layla, we got a project due in school. We're going to experiment with putting voice technology. I said, okay, because I want to do a website about Islam. Create the first website and using voice technology back in 86. Okay, so I've been doing this a long time, but I've never used anybody's books, as everybody know, because I learned from my teachers, Sheikh Karadari, Umar al-Ashkar, Sheikh Morsi, and that other brother that teaches about the jinn, I can never remember his name, Sheikh Morsi's friend, the jinn brother. I learned from them, okay? And I took notes because we didn't use books back then. All the books were in Arabic, not English. So I had to sit in here and learn the ding from them and take notes. And that's where my PowerPoints came from. I started using PowerPoint, and I've been teaching these classes, ever since. The same class. You look on the internet, my lectures are there, same classes, using PowerPoint. But alhamdulillah, I happened to come upon Kareem Abu Zaid, his books. MashaAllah, finally, these are books of Aqidah worth teaching because it's everything that Sheikh Qaradari taught me about Aqidah and everything that Umar al-Ashkar, may Allah forgive them both of their sins, Ameen, what they taught me about paradise, hell, belief in Allah, belief in the angels. I had to learn all that with them. The jinn, from the jinn guy, it's all in these books. So I said, finally, after over 30 years of doing dawah on the internet, I finally found some books that's worth me using because I base everything on the hadiths, okay? And so I've been teaching his books now for 3 years, and I'm going to stick with them. And then also Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. I use all, I used to be married to the old man. We ain't married no more, but that's okay. We all about the dawah. I also teach Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli's books, and I'll continue to teach his books because I know that his stuff is always based on what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said and Allah. Because one thing about Sheikh Atli, he loves Allah, he loves the Prophet, and he wants to die upon Siratul Mustaqim, and he hates innovators. He ain't about that. Oh no! So those are only two people's books I teach here at Sunnah Followers: Kareem Abu Zayd's Akida and Muhammad Saeed Atli's Hadiths and stuff. So alhamdulillah, Allah is, Allah is in control of everything here. And I'm glad that you guys are enjoying learning. It's the stuff I've been teaching over and over since 86, but finally you have a book instead of my PowerPoint. You got a book to look at. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so we're going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's asked. Yeah. No. That's tomorrow. The Heroines of Islam. Oh, you like that class? She said she likes my hair. Yeah, that was sad. The story, she's talking about the wife of Julebi. Yeah, nobody knows her names. Yeah, nobody knows her name. Yeah, unfortunately, sister. Yeah, nobody knows her name. Yeah, it's not known. But like I said, even the Tabi'in couldn't remember her name. And I'm pretty sure she remarried. Yeah. Back in those days, a woman was married after her husband was killed in battle, especially if he was a righteous man like Julebi was, and she was a beautiful, rich woman. Y'all remember, she was young, beautiful, and rich. So I'm pretty sure she remarried. And she may have remarried 10 times after, because those were the original companions. They were fighting in the way of Allah. But yeah, we don't know her name. Yeah, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. Sabrine, you got something to say? Go ahead.
I was just agreeing. It was beautiful, and I took some notes on that story. I had never heard of it before.
Yeah.
About her and her husband Juby, and there's so many lessons in that story, because she was willing to go against her parents and stand up, for and follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah and him came first, then herself, and I like that because that's a lesson too.
Yeah, that's why I did her story, because that's one of the things I'm trying to do. I want you sisters to understand, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that each generation of Muslims will become further and further and further from the truth. The best generations were the first 3 generations. We are the current generation. So that means we're the worst. We're the worst. And people don't understand this religion properly. There's a lot of misconceptions, in particular about women in Islam. I mean, I just can't believe it's like we're back in the dark ages. Women can't wear colors, and that is not Islam. None of this stuff that these brothers have been feeding you women is from the Quran or the Hadith. None of the things they tell y'all about how they say a woman is supposed to be is how those female companions were. So that's why I'm doing the female companions, so y'all can see that these brothers that are telling y'all to be invisible don't know nothing, because none of the women around the Prophet were invisible. Every single one was visible. None of the women around the Prophet were oppressed. None of them were told that they were nothing but sex and babies. And then you get to see that they were with the Prophet even on the battlefield, fighting with the sword, not sitting there polishing his shoes. So that's why I'm doing these female companies, so y'all can see these things that you sisters have been told for years is garbage. But the Prophet said this would happen. One of the signs of the last hour, Islam will become strange. The rights that Allah gave to women, men, will be stripped down one by one. And we see it happening. Women, the rights of Allah, there's no need for feminism. I don't even know, what is that? I'm a Muslim woman. I was liberated by my Lord. I know my role. I know my rights. And can't nobody take them away. Not no man, not no woman, not no child. You know, so that's why I'm doing these stories so y'all can see. I don't know, you know, you got to be careful who y'all listening to. You know, these men are crazy telling y'all this stuff. I didn't grow up in a community like that. Alhamdulillah, I come from a strong Islamic community of women and men. The men were not trying to extinguish or break the women. Well, the women wouldn't have allowed it anyway. But there were no men trying to break the women in my community. If anything, the men and women worked as true partners, pushing each other and supporting each other to be the way Allah commanded us to be. But I grew up in the 60s, 70s, different era, you know. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, I want to remind everybody that the 9 o'clock class, yes, it's not the heroines, it's the hadith class, the book of Sheikh Atlee's. The book of Sheikh Atlee's entitled Termites. Those are hadiths about things that we do that can destroy our faith. So that's tonight. I forgot which hadith. Mina, do any of you remember which hadith it is for today? She wants to know.
Okay, let me look.
Okay, hold on for a second. She's going to look it up. She wants to know which hadith we're going to discuss. Yeah. Brother Merard, Dr. Jamali's 10 o'clock classes starts on the 12th, inshallah. I'm going to stream them. I'm going to stream them on the internet starting on the 12th. Yeah. And I got another brother, Sheikh Saad El Husani. He's going to be coming here to lecture too. I'm waiting on Jamali to set that up too. So we got some new classes coming. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't write down termites, just one of us. I didn't write down termites.
Okay, don't worry about it, sister. I'll post it up if I can get the time. I got to do the PowerPoint. I'll post it up in a few minutes because I got to do the PowerPoint for it anyway. So I'm going to go through the book and look at it. All right. Okay, I'm going to log out for now. Inshallah, I'll be back on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.